Which of the Greendale ladies finally won Jeff Winger's heart? Why was Donald Glover not part of the cast's group chat? And who said that working on Community was a big mistake? Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching OSSA. Let's get on down to Greendale. You've been Britta. Sure, she may have had a complicated relationship with the rest of the gang and her constant insistence of being politically correct, but the actress behind Britta Perry has had no issue befriending her colleagues. Playing Britta was actually a breakout role for Gillian Jacobs, and the actress has regularly expressed her gratitude to the show and her love to her co-stars. Though the actress is a single child, she has described her time on Community as a huge family gathering. In fact, she told Variety that, "It gave me that real-life feeling of feeling like part of a group in a way that I don't think I'd ever really felt like before." And the reason that her castmates felt like family was because they were so supportive, and naturally, because they're hilarious. The actress told the Off-Camera show, "I learned so much from my castmates, and so I miss them every day." By the end of the show, we were sort of speaking in our own language of inside jokes. I guess you really can't fake that kind of chemistry. Jeff Winger, Community Casanova. When Jeff Winger first came up with the idea for a study group, it was just a poorly disguised attempt to get into Britta's bed. And of course, Britta wasn't the only lady in the group to have caught Winger's eye. Between wooing Annie and becoming Shirley's partner in gossip crime, he's always had a way with the ladies. Which leads us to wonder, who did he end up with? Nobody, according to the show's creator, Dan Harmon. In an interview with Distractify, the showrunner explained, "Do we really believe in our heart of hearts that the current version of Jeff Winger and the current version of Annie Edison would be happily ever after if they ever got together? I'm comfortable with the realization that he's genuinely in love with her, but that's a separate thing from whether that's actually good for her. Sometimes the truth hurts." But luckily, Joel McHale's real-life romance isn't such a nightmare. He's been married to his wife, Sarah Williams, for over 2 decades, and their love is still going strong. In an interview with AOL, he said, "My wife is the queen. She is my queen. I got the best one out of a lot of women in the world, so that's going to be hard for anyone to get someone better than her, because they don't exist. I'm very lucky she agreed to marry me." That's enough to make anyone jealous, right? Something changed when the show ended. They may both have a penchant for faking their qualifications, but that was the sum total of what Jeff Winger and Ben Chang had in common. The ex-lawyer not only made zero effort to hide his frustrations at his former lecturer's desperate desire to join the study group, but he never missed a chance to belittle Chang. However, as hilariously tense as their on-screen relationship seemed, it's nothing like their off-screen bromance. When the cameras aren't rolling, these two are basically BFFs and have continued to work together since leaving Community. Not only did McHale make an appearance on an episode of Zhang's latest show, Dr. Ken, in 2016, but they also both worked as judges on The Masked Singer. They even have a podcast together called The Darkest Timeline, which occasionally features some of their mutual buddies, such as Donald Glover and Alison Brie. It's just like old times. But McHale's not the only one still in touch with the former doctor. Last year, the cast joined him in celebrating his birthday and spreading the love. That's nice, dear. She may have been the occasionally disapproving mother figure on the show, but off-screen, Yvette Nicole Brown was just one of the gang. Though she sadly had to leave the show before the season 6 finale in order to care for her ailing father, she was there in spirit. Brown admitted to Variety that she loved playing Shirley because the show and character were so dynamic. In fact, she only ever has something nice to say about her time on the show, and we love it. When asked what was the most challenging part of the show, she admitted that the long hours on set were really hard, but we were fighting them together. We would commiserate with each other, laugh, joke, and take naps with each other. Had we not had each other, it would have been a horrible experience. Our whole life was that show. And she's still just as enamored with her fellow actors, between texting Gillian Jacobs for advice before an interview, to appearing on Ken Jeong's new show and joining Alison Brie's birthday celebrations. There's a lot of love in this lady. The best ever bromance, Troy and Abed. The only thing better than the bromance between Troy and Abed was the fact that it almost didn't happen. According to the show's creator, Dan Harmon, Abed was supposed to be a loner, while Troy got up to shenanigans with Pierce. However, when Danny Pudi and Donald Glover met, they just clicked, leading the writers to script the most epic friendship in Greendale. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, the actor behind Abed explained that he and Glover loved coming up with bits together and shared a unique comedic style. He recalls how their famous closing credit scenes were created. One time we were doing an interview and started freestyle rapping to distract from whatever question we'd got. From that, Dan got inspired to write the La Biblioteca rap, and those end tags took off. And after 5 years of friendship both on and off screen, it wasn't easy for Pudi to say goodbye to Donald when the actor turned musician decided to leave Community. But that doesn't mean he didn't see it coming. The actor recalls first hearing Glover's music while they were filming the 3rd season of Community, and just knowing that it meant that Donald's time on the show was limited, as he would certainly move on to bigger things. In fact, most of his cast members suspected that the start of Donald's music career would mean the end of his role on the show. But though this meant they'd lose a friend, they were all super supportive. Alison Brie remarked in 2018 that, "It will forever be really special to me that we would hear his music before anyone." In addition, Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays the maternal Shirley, also dished out high praise, explaining, "I've said this 1,000 times before. I think he's one of the most talented human beings I've ever met. He's also a kind man, so I just wish him every success." Despite the cast having no problem playing cheerleader to their co-star, they still mourned Donald's departure. Pudi recalls, "It was kinda nice to be able to grieve in a show where you're grieving about your real-life friend saying goodbye. To be able to do that, really have a send-off for Donald, was great. We were actually truly saying goodbye to our friend, and he's still missed."
I loved having a bromance.
With a man?
I did, yeah. It was fun, you know. I mean, it's.
Do you miss him?
I miss him a lot, Larry. I do miss him a lot.
You miss him a lot.
I miss him. If he was here right now, I'd hug him.
Thankfully, the gang has a group chat to stay in touch. According to Pudi, it's mostly like jokes, bits, talking about what we can do over quarantine, when we can meet again, and when we could hang out. Which is probably why Donald was justifiably outraged when he found out he'd been left out of the chat.
There's a group chat? I'm not in this group chat.
You're not in the group chat?
Go.
Hi,
No,
everybody.
Hi, Danny. After this, I literally was going to be like, no, we should have a group chat. There's no group chat.
I think we assumed you were too busy, Donald.
Oops, seems there is a price for having a stellar career. You missed the group chats. Annie, are you okay? Sure, Abed and Troy had the type of friendship that dreams are made of, but off-screen, the role of Danny Pudi's bestie went to someone else at Greendale. Yep, it's Alison Brie.
Everybody dance now. Bah, 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 bah.
Not only does Alison consider Danny to be the funniest Community cast member, but she's awarded him the title of Best Cuddler, too. She told Rolling Stone magazine, "The thing about him is that if you stroke the back of his head, he just falls asleep in your lap. So he can be a really good cuddler, armrest, or sack of potatoes. Who knew friendships could be so versatile?"
When you say like this, do you mean like this? Or do you mean like this?
Now that's friendship goals. But actually, Alison is still friends with all of her Community crew. In an interview with Entertainment last year, she said, "I love my Community family. We still talk all the time. I was just texting Joel McHale yesterday. Our group text is going constantly. I love those guys." And thankfully, the warm and fuzzies the cast share for each other show no sign of slowing down.
It's a love fest. We love each other.
So I guess no one can blame us for holding thumbs for a Community movie, right? The cast is certainly willing. Well, most of them. The exception to the rule. Though we'd love to tell you that the entire cast of Community are BFFs in real life, that would be a lie. And while the majority of the cast's original study group are friendly off-screen, there's an actor who isn't part of this love fest, Chevy Chase. Sure, Pierce Hawthorne was about as far from politically correct as can be, but it seems that the actor behind the role fared no better. In fact, Chase was so unpleasant off-screen that he was eventually asked to leave the show, culminating in the weirdest funeral in television history. In fact, Chase made such a habit of issuing racist remarks around both Donald Glover and Yvette Nicole Brown that Dan Harmon attempted to apologize on his behalf. In a 2018 interview, the showrunner explained, "I remember apologizing to Donald after a particularly rough night of Chevy's non-PC verbiage, and Donald said, 'I don't even worry about it.'" In fact, Glover was quite philosophical about Chase's behavior, explaining that he saw Chase as someone who was trying to come to terms with the end of their career, explaining, "I just saw Chevy as fighting time. A true artist has to be okay with his reign being over, but I know there's a human in there somewhere." Thankfully, Donald doesn't seem to have held any grudges, but the musician wasn't the only one at the receiving end of Chase's bad behavior. In an interview with Larry King, Joel McHale explained that Chase didn't want to be there. He didn't like his character at all. And that's not all he didn't like. In an interview with the Huffington Post, Chase admitted that he thought being a part of the show was a mistake. He continued, "The hours are hideous, and it's still a sitcom on television, which is probably the lowest form of television. I think the reason I have stuck around is because I love these kids, the cast. They're very good. but these feelings didn't extend to the showrunner. Harmon and Chase apparently had a rocky relationship from the start. Apart from the actor's disparaging comments about the show, he would often complain about the long hours the team worked to shoot the show. And in one memorable incident, Chase refused to finish filming his scene and just left the set. As a result, Harmon used his wrap party speech to berate Chase in front of his wife and daughter. And sadly, the relationship was never the same. What's next? Despite the cast telling fans for years that there may be a Community movie, it looks as though it really might happen. Maybe. We do know that all of the cast have expressed a willingness to reunite for a movie, with Donald Glover being the final actor to commit to the idea following a cast reunion on Zoom. In fact, we have some inside info. According to Joel McHale, we shot the movie. It's already shot. We shot it after that Zoom call. It's just another Zoom call. It's a 2-hour Zoom call. The budget was about $230 million. Most of that went to Donald. Jokes aside, are you keen for a Community movie? Let us know in the comments below, and until next time, stay awesome!